Hello everyone, and welcome back to AirMech. Today I'm going to be doing an updated tutorial on AirMech's player market. Now for those of you just joining us, AirMech's player market is a part of the shop that's entirely run by players. Everything listed here was put up by actual players. It's fairly simple to get to the player market these days. Just hit shop and then player market, and here you have it. This is the player market. These are all the currently available items being sold by players. You can browse the pages. You can search for a specific item by typing in the name in the bottom, such as so for example, you can filter to see all the crates by typing in crate at the bottom. And finally, you can sort them with various different options. The most popular of those options being not owned, sorting it by price, whether it be the cheapest first or the most expensive first, see your own listings, sort it by the time listed, seeing your wish lists, seeing stuff that's not in the normal shop, etc., etc. And these filters are the Rarity filters, but I'll be covering those in a quick second after I explain rarities. There's also a nice little handy-dandy button down here that allows you to quickly swap between your inventory and the player market. One neat feature of the player market is your wish list. Now, the wish list is something that you can add any item to, and then if you go to the info tab and do /wish list, it'll show you everything on your wish list. So, say for example, I want an Alpha Striker. Then I can click this in the lower left and it'll add that to my wish list. There are two potential uses for the wish list. The first one being the most obvious, you put everything you want to buy on there. Or one use I found for it is put everything I want to sell on there. So that way I can just quickly go to my inventory and scroll through, ooh, what do I want to sell today? Or I could go to the player market and be like, oh, is there anybody selling the things that I want to sell, and do you think I could undercut them? Now for the rarities. You may have noticed by now that certain items have different color borders around them. These are its rarity. For example, common things have a gray border around them, whereas the seasonal items have a purple border, which is like legendary. Other types of seasonals have rares. I don't really exactly know what the criteria for the rarity is, but there is one that's for sure easy to predict, and that's the ancient rarity. And the ancient means that it's retired and no longer obtainable. And the only exception to this is the Rarity pet, which is a little bird. And that's just because in the future, once AirMech has Twitter integration, you tweet out something from within AirMech and you'll be added to a daily raffle for one of these to be given out. So that's what these rarity things are for, so you can filter out. So now I don't see any commons, and now I only see legendary and ancients, or ultimates, which is kind of up in that category. So to sell something on the market, first find an item you wish to sell, click on it, and then click Market List. This diamond value right here is its default shop price. Once you click that button, you can change the price here. So I'm going to do this as an example. You can choose whether to use kudos or diamonds to pay for the listing fee. You can choose for how long it goes up. Obviously, the longer you have it listed for, the larger the fee will be. You can go to the player market directly after listing, or you can continue to stay in your inventory. And you can choose the privacy and choose to gift wrap it or not. Now, the privacy levels, this means obviously anybody can buy it. If you click this, this means anyone in your faction can buy it. So, for example, you could have a faction-only sale. So they say, oh, everybody who joins my faction gets these awesome prices on these items. And then this is the most one of the more used ones, the player option. This allows you to list it to a specific player. So now only I can buy this item. And then if you gift wrap it, it allows you to play a little unwrapping animation when you're clicking to buy the item. Please note that this does increase your diamonds cost and you can't pay for it with kudos. Once you're done, click OK, create listing. So as you can see, I've got a few things listed on the player market, and I can always click to cancel it. And just a few quick things about this. For starters, if your item actually does sell, if you're not any form of VIP, then 70% of the diamonds you earn gets locked and 30% is given to you directly. But if you're Silver VIP or higher, then you get all the profits directly. The second thing is you have a limited amount of listings you can have at a time. So by default you start with 3, but if you use these items called books of econ, so you can see like items like this, these are consumable items and they increase your active market slots by 1 permanently. These tend to be a little bit expensive, so they're a bit of an investment. Another thing to note is your tax rate. Whenever you sell something, as you can see right here, it adds on a tax. By default it's 15%, but if you use the tax books, that'll decrease it by 1% up to a certain maximum. So it is quite an investment to get your tax rate down, but if you're using the player market a lot like I do, it can be most certainly worth it because it allows you to sell to actually get more of your diamonds instead of losing it to tax. And then finally, 2 main tips for selling items. For starters, you always want to make sure that, or you always want to check to see if other people are selling it on the market. If people are selling it, only sell it for cheaper. And the reason is, well, why the heck would anybody buy anything that's more expensive? They always want the cheapest price. Makes sense. You would want the cheapest price, so you gotta give them the cheapest price. But if there isn't any of them on there, then you want to check to see if it's in the shop. So if you go and you check and see if it's in the shop, so for example, I want to sell a fantasy Zeppelin, but you know, make sure you list it for less than 800 diamonds, because why would anybody buy it for more than 800 diamonds if they could just go to the normal shop and buy it for 800 diamonds? If it's not in the normal shop and it's not in the player market, ask to see if it's in the VIP shop. Now the VIP shop is accessible to those who own a item called the VIP shop ticket. These are given to diamond VIPs, but they're sellable on the player market, so these can be sometimes be obtained for quite cheap. But this allows you to buy a lot of off-season items, so you always want to make sure that what you're listing is cheaper than if you buy a VIP shop ticket and buy it from the default shop, because if yours isn't cheaper than that, then people will just buy the VIP shop ticket and then buy it from the regular shop. So those are my few tips about selling. So you know, that's the pretty much the basics of using the market. You know, just final words of advice: just use common sense and have fun with it. And this is InvaderMEEN signing off. Want to see more gaming videos from me, InvaderMEEN? Simply click that link in the description and you'll be able to watch more top-notch videos.